Welcome back to ciLiving. September is Library Card Sign-Up Month, and here with all of the fun that you can check out at the Urbana Free Library is Lyndzie Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so it is Library Card Sign-Up Month, so what exactly does that mean, and how does one go about getting a library card?
So the Urbana Free Library and Champaign Public Library, we're just partnering together to encourage folks to come check out the library and sign up for a card so they can check out materials. So there's lots of amazing things that the library offers, from, tech support help to having a great place to study to resources for children. So we'd love everybody to come sign up for a free card.
And if you are not eligible for a free card, you can still use the library's resources or come in and read a book for a little while and things like that, right?
Absolutely, yep. So even if you are not in the library's taxing district and can't get a card per se, you can still use all the resources while you're in the library.
All right, and then speaking of resources, if you do get a card and do want to check out books, I see that you have brought a spread of books today to share with us. So what have you brought?
Yes, so we have a book club at the library. It's called Swipe Right. It's a romance book club, and there's so many different types of romance, so I narrowed it down today. I chose romantasy for us to talk about. Yeah, so romance and fantasy combined.
That's what I was going to ask. Romantasy sounds like romance and fantasy, so it's exactly what it sounds like.
Exactly.
And then you've organized them by, I noticed on your bookmarks here, you have tiny little peppers.
Yes.
So what is the indication of the tiny little peppers?
So kind of typical in romance novels is to indicate the spiciness level of the story, how kind of steamy the romance is, with peppers. So I've got least amount of peppers to most amount of peppers here, so you can kind of decide like which area of the spectrum you're on in terms of interest.
Where in the Scoville scale of books you want to start.
Exactly.
So let's start down there with the two-pepper book.
Yes, so I started with a classic. This is Outlander. So there are actually 9 books in the Outlander series. This is the first one.
Okay.
So it's a time travel romance. The main character's name is Claire. She accidentally travels back in time from 1943 to 1743. And there's a romance, there's danger, passion, heartbreak, all the things you really want out of a book, and it's an entire series you can explore.
And that looks like a hefty series as well. So if you're wanting kind of something to get into and really have longevity there, those look like they're big books too.
Exactly. I think you can read the first one by itself, but if you want to continue the story and commit to a series, this is a good one.
That's a good one to do. Excellent. And then we have a 3-pepper book here.
Yes, we do. We're moving up the scale. So this one is called A Fate Inked in Blood. It's a fantasy novel. So the main character, she discovers that she possesses an ancient magic, and she's forced into a marriage with a man that she doesn't love, but she turns out to be involved in this prophecy with her magic. She finds a forbidden love, and there's a lot of wild things that ensue after that. So 3 out of 5 on the spiciness scale with that forbidden romance.
And that is a really pretty cover. I know they say never judge a book by its cover, and I know some books.
Oh, I totally do.
I always do. I'm like,
ooh, cool cover.
Pretty. Let's read that.
And the edges are all metallic on this guy too.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah,
that's a really cool book. It's in a nice package.
Exactly.
And then what about this one? This one has 3.5 peppers.
Yes, this one is called Phantasma. I read this book recently. I really enjoyed it. So the main character's name is Ophelia, and she is a necromancer, which means she can speak to the dead. And she enters a deadly competition at a cursed manor so that she can hopefully win and pay off her family's debts. But then she meets a mysterious stranger inside the manor, and maybe she falls in love. Maybe it'll be her downfall. We're not sure. You got to read it to find out.
That is really good. I feel like that one kind of draws you in, and that one is good for, we're getting closer and closer to spooky season. I'm pretty much ready for Halloween, so I feel like that's a good Halloween book if you're in that mindset already.
I agree. I was describing it to people as kind of like Hunger Games, but make it the Haunted Mansion and also add some romance.
Okay, I like that. That's a good, that gives you a very clear picture of what that book is. And then this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peppers.
Yes. Oh wait. Oh wait. This one has 4. Yes.
I apparently can't count backwards.
I didn't bring the 5 peppers. We're not at that level yet.
We're not there.
This one's called The Sea Witch.
Okay.
And it's actually a dark retelling of The Little Mermaid. And it's the villainess's origin story. So there's a swashbuckling romance, pirates, magic, witches, all the things that you might want from a fantasy novel, and then spicy romance. So 4 out of 5 on the spice level there.
And that's really interesting because I feel like the original Little Mermaid was really dark, and then there have been some cartoon versions that have lightened it up a little bit, so then this sounds like it sort of gets back to its truer roots.
Exactly, yeah.
And then another, is this one 4? Let me count
4 as well.
4 as well for this one. What's this one called?
This one's called Bride. So this is by Ali Hazelwood. She is a popular romance author, but this one is kind of her fantasy take. So it's a vampire and a werewolf. They're forced into a marriage to unite their species. So it ends up being kind of this enemies to lovers thing. They hate each other at first. Maybe they fall in love down the road. And then, of course, there's mystery and magic and all of that as well. So 4 out of 5 on the spice.
I was going to say that also sounds like a really interesting book. I feel like when they use sort of fantasy to tell stories that are very like common to what is happening or what kind of goes on in the real world.
Yeah.
And so then how does the book club work? You choose any romance book and then you all come together and talk about it?
Yep, exactly. Since there's so many different types of romance novels, subgenres, and people have different preferences in spiciness level, everybody can come with their own book suggestions. And we have 2 wonderful staff members at the library who run it, Gretchen and Robin. It's the 4th Monday of every month at 7 p.m. And so just come ready to talk about some of your recent favorites and hear suggestions of new ones that you might want to try.
And I really like the idea of this because, like you said, you kind of get ideas, but then you also learn about other books, plus you kind of get to read whatever you want and still have that sort of community feel. And then before we wrap up, you were in the middle of a project the last time the Urbana Free Library was here. So do you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. So the library is still undergoing its partial renovation project. Our first floor is completely under construction. So if you come to the library, it might be a little confusing to get around, but we've got some signs and folks to point you in the right direction. But it's going really, really well, and we're on track to be done by the end of the calendar year.
That's very exciting. And then you're going to have a brand new circulation desk, right?
Yep, brand new circulation area, fresh coat of paint. It's going to be really lovely. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here and for all of these perfect fall sort of spooky romantic book recommendations. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.